Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we're back with more for Spooktober. Today we are talking about one of the creatures of mythology, especially within native mythology, the Wendigo, or the Wendigo. It's got numerous pronunciations, but the belief in it shows up in several of the native cultures. Uh, most of the tales focused around the Great Plains and the Great Lakes regions between the U.S. and Canada. So a lot of the tribes that live there. Um, let's pull this up. Um, yeah, Wendigo, uh, Wendigo, 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 Wendiga, Whitka, or Whitco, or Whitico, and various others names. So yeah, the idea behind the Wendigo was it's a demonic possession of hunger and starvation. The creature that's often cited uh, is thin, emaciated, but it's constantly hungry. Uh, it has uh, its origins in the Algonquin tribes. Um, which again are a lot of your northern tribes on the the U.S. and Canadian borders, such as the Ojibwe and the Cree. Um, so yeah, but it is often associated with the extremely cold and thin winters. Um, and it's often cited as being involved with human cannibalism. Um, there have been many cases that some claim was proof of Wendigo or possession by the Wendigo. Uh, but yeah, let's take a little further look here. Um, yeah, but it's focused on that the hunger and starvation feeling of during the extremely sparse winters when there's little to nothing to eat. And it's like they can never get full, but they will end up supposedly even eating people. Um, But yeah, I'm seeing if there's one of the things I do want to talk about is you often see images of the Wendigo with antlers. That's not how it originally was. That is a creation, I think, of a movie or whatever. But yeah, it's not supposed to have horns. The idea was that it was um, just someone driven to a bestial nature to eat, to feed. Yeah. Um, One of the most famous cases is the case of Swift Runner, who himself was a native Cree, uh, living in the 1800s in what is now central Alberta, Canada. Um, his background seemed normal. It wasn't unusual in any way. But yeah, he traded with the Hudson's Bay Company and served as a guide. But in the winter of 1878 to 1879, so late 1878, early 1879, in a particularly tough period for the Cree, the claim is that he became possessed by the Wendigo. And it would become known that he devoured his own wife and children. Yeah, he murdered his wife and family and cooked and ate their flesh. Yeah. Um, it is an early tale of what the idea of the Wendigo was about. Just how it focused on that bestial need, the drive to eat. Like I said, it's almost like it's driven by starvation and hunger, like it can't get enough. Uh, yeah, it's an unusual tale, but it's not the only one. Some even say the Donner Party, the famous party that got stuck in the Rockies trying to cross to California. Or sorry, not the Rockies, but in, well, Sierra Nevada are kind of close, but they got stuck in the Sierra Nevadas. And many of those who passed ended up serving as sustenance for the other members who would live through it. But yeah, it was another horrible moment, and some say that maybe even the spirit of the Wendigo was involved there. Yeah. Um, let's see where it was on the Oregon Trail. They crossed the Rocky Mountains, Wasatch Range, and the Great Salt Lake Desert in modern Utah. Um, but yeah, they would even cross the Humboldt River in present-day Nevada, which resulted in the loss of many of their own cattle and wagons. Uh, but by early November, they had reached the Sierra Nevada mountains, but were trapped by a um, heavy snowfall high in the mountains. So yeah, many say that the idea of the Wendigo could have perhaps even been involved there. Um, but the idea of cannibalism is not really new. There's suggestions that early uses of cannibalism was uh, an act that helped to say, this is our territory. And was used in a way to defend one's territory against others. But yeah, not merely as just an act of hunger, but it may have been a form of setting boundaries, saying this is our land, this is our defense. But yeah, the Wendigo is an interesting piece of history. Um, Modern media even has it placed in other spots, like in the game Fallout 76, they have Wendigo in West Virginia. I could see that in some parts because it does snow up in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. I could easily see the need for something there because, things happen there. Um, when you're stranded without food, without resources, things become grim. But yeah, the spirit of the Wendigo, uh, the potential possession, it's an interesting part of lore. But that's all I really wanted to talk about. I'll, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting these sources in the description below the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.